Welcome back to Georgina. Our next guest is very interesting. He is local, grew up in Keswick, believe it or not. He's an author, and he wrote a great book called How to Meet a Girl at the End of the World. Welcome to Georgina Life, Christopher Compton.
Thank you very much for having me.
Christopher, I'm just going to jump right in. I know before we went on air, you were speaking about having a book in your head. And I truly believe we all have a book in our head. I just think it's a testament to your talent to be able to move it from here to here. So how to meet a girl at the end of the world?
Yep.
Share with us. Tell us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, everyone's got at least one. I hope I have more than one, but that's kind of the one that's been kicking around the longest. And it was the one that I wanted to share with the world the most. And it just kind of made sense, especially the past couple of years have been really difficult for everybody. I think we've all kind of had that experience of wanting to reach out to somebody and not being able to be in contact with them. So this book kind of deals a lot with that. Having someone out there that we really means a lot to us or that we love and kind of wanting to get to them before, I mean, it was this significant, but the end of the world in this case, quite literally.
That's really neat. There's some great reviews, by the way, on Amazon, and congratulations because you got some great 5-star reviews. But for those people out there that kind of want to know what the book's about, can you give us sort of the Reader's Digest version?
Yeah, for sure. So the main character's name is Nathaniel, and he's been speaking to this girl that he met online named Alice, and they've been talking for a while, but he's not really making his move. He's thinking, I've got all the time in the world. There's no rush. And then they kind of wake up one day to find out that a science experiment basically on the other side of the world has created this kind of black hole, black mass that's slowly consuming the world. Nothing that can be done to stop it. There's no chance of hiding in a bunker somewhere or getting shot off into space. So he figures, what am I going to do with this last time I have left on the planet? And he decides, well, now is as good a time as any to get to her if I can. And so he kind of enlists the help of his best friends. Some of them have their own journeys and side quests they want to get into, but the main focus is, and the main crux of it is that relationship between people who have never met until this moment.
Well, and Linda shared a snippet from Amazon. I mean, I was reading that this morning with my coffee, and I wanted to keep reading and reading and reading. I mean, I love the name Nathaniel Divine. Please tell me it's divine and not Divine, because no, I'll be so disappointed.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
But, you're going from, an 18-year-old girl and that, and saying goodbye to your mother and on text. I mean, there was just so much stuff in there that's just so very, very rich. And I'm reading with just 24 hours left on the clock. You enlist, road trip of a lifetime. And to your point, this last 2 years, I think we kind of all feel we're on a road to
somewhere. Yeah.
So did this pandemic that we're not going to talk about, did what's going on in the world kind of move you in this direction? Was that just like that book was just waiting to happen? Thank you, COVID-19.
And yes, in a way, for sure. It wasn't, the book had been around for a while, but this was kind of the catalyst I needed to get it out there, because I felt that was just kind of in the collective sphere. And even though the book is there's a lot of darkness to it, I think it has a very hopeful message. And I hope that a lot of people can kind of read the book and feel a little bit better about their situation, and just realize that it could be worse. Appreciate the things we have now and hold on to what we have, because it can be taken away at any given moment.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, they all say too that a book not only comes from your brain, but it also comes from lived and shared experiences. Now, you grew up in Keswick and you went to Our Lady of the Lake. I want to know, are there things in the book that people might recognize if you grew up in Georgina?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was kind of situating where the book would be, it's very easy to just create places out of nowhere, but I thought it would be a little bit more authentic to ground it in the place that actually exists. So I don't know if I quite use all of the actual names, but there are some roads and landmarks you'll recognize. Like there's a Weston Road that the characters are trying to get to Toronto. Is kind of the main goal. There's the side characters, the friends, they want to try to drop off at Wasaga Beach on the way. So I do definitely take some creative liberties because I believe if you actually try to take that journey, take like half an hour probably. But for the sake of this novel, there's a lot of obstacles and things thrown away, and I kind of stretch things out much, much further. So people who live in the area might kind of laugh themselves of how long it would actually take to make all these pit stops. But for people outside, it would be it's up to me, I guess, to make it how big I want to make it.
So I'm reading the review from August 2021. The road trip vibe was perfect for summer, and I thought the list of songs presented at the beginning was a nice touch. So share with us that piece, the music.
Right. So one of the main characters he's kind of his name is Sam. He's one of the most ready for this apocalypse more than anybody else. And he actually has an apocalyptic playlist, like the songs that you would love to hear at the end of the world. And I always use music when I'm writing. And I kind of had a list of songs that I would play to give me that vibe that I wanted. So I just thought, well, what if I just took that playlist and put it it's on the first page, I believe, is just Sam's final mix playlist. So if you listen to those songs as you're reading along, because it is a very fast read, a lot happens in a very small amount of time, the songs kind of like build and fall with the action of the book. So I believe I even have a Spotify playlist listed in there somewhere that you can just kind of go to if you have Spotify and just listen along with them.
I love that. Fantastic. That's fantastic. And listen, I have a question for you. Did you always want to write? And that's the first one. And the second question that goes along with that is sort of what's next for you? Is there another book in there?
So yes, I've always wanted to write. That's always been my dream. Like it's one of those things that if you ask my parents, ask my best friends, there's never been, oh, he wanted to be a firefighter, he wanted to be an astronaut. It was always just writer. And it was just because I read a lot as a kid and I watched a lot of movies and I always thought, oh man, I wish I could make other people feel what I feel when I'm reading these books and watching these movies. And yes, there is another book coming. I hope to have it out this year, maybe by summer. I always feel that summer is a good time to release a book. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, it's very deep in development now.
Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. And listen, do you have anything in common with your protagonist in this book?
A little bit. I definitely remember in high school having people that I would like kind of meet online and have not like relationships like this, but I would have conversations with all the time. And I thought, oh man, it would be so interesting to actually meet this person one day. And then it kind of spiraled from there. What if it was a romantic relationship? What if it was the end of the world? Like, what would you do on the last day? So yeah, 100%. Everything comes from a place of reality. This is probably the most like close to me book. They always say that your first book is always kind of the one closest to your heart. And this one is very close to my heart. And then for the next one, it has nothing to do with anything to do with me. So yeah, this one I'll always look back on very, very fondly.
I think that's great. So how does it feel having a book out there on Amazon, being so well reviewed? I mean, how do you feel? You must feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels really, really good. And yeah, reading those reviews, I'm very active on TikTok is kind of the way to promote books a lot these days. So anytime I see someone in the comments saying, oh, like I'll post a TikTok that has nothing to do with my book, but people will say, oh, I read your book and I really, really enjoyed it. And that's always just a really weird experience knowing that someone other than your parents or your friends that of course would read your book, some just random person out there is reading it, enjoying it. It feels really good.
Good. So Christopher, how do people get a hold of you?
So yes, they can either go to my TikTok is kind of where I'm the most prolific on is author Chris Compton. And
gotta wrap it up. I'm so sorry to cut you off. Listen, people will find you, and Georgina, you will find us right back after the break. Take care. Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you.